Election campaign promises to abolish the deeply unpopular consumer tax are thought to have been an important factor which swayed voters towards the new government. And now it's delivering on that promise.
It would actually be the best thing for the nations.
It's benefit for tourists because they can claim the GST tax refund, but local cannot.
The GST was introduced 3 years ago to offset falls in the price of major revenue earners, oil and gas. Many businesses were affected.
Every company would do some minor investment, or some of them more on the hardware, some of them is more on software. But ultimately also involve a lot of resources.
This Chinese medicine chain managed to absorb the additional costs, but tens of thousands of smaller businesses closed down as the cost of raw materials shot up. GST revenue significantly contributed to the state's coffers. The leaders of the new government have a new dilemma: how to cut the $272 billion national debt, which is more than 80% of GDP. The government set up a fund open to members of the public who are willing to contribute towards the national debt. It's a call to action that's being circulated in social media. But the government's even provided a bank account number so people can donate directly to what's being called the Hope Fund. Analysts say more concrete measures are needed.
We find that the government will be hard-pressed to actually offset the fall in revenue. It will be quite challenging for the government to find a broader tax system like the GST, because it's a value-added tax or consumption tax. So what's very important now is actually for the government to actually control its spending.
While the government is putting in place its own austerity measures to tackle the debt, it hopes the current zero tax rate on goods and services will encourage consumer spending to boost the economy. Street food sellers are promising to pass on the savings to customers.
I can drop the price of my chicken. Before, with GST, the stock cost more, so I had to charge more.
But what's being called a tax honeymoon may be short-lived. The government's planning a new tax in September. Divya, Gopalan, Al Jazeera, Kuala Lumpur.